Hey guys, I'm going to be taking a closer look at the Emerson Model 639 that I just picked up at the Antique Radio Club of Illinois swapfest. It's a 7-inch black and white TV from about 48, uses a 7JP4 electrostatic picture tube. It's quite small. I think it will be the smallest 40s TV I've got. The cabinet's in rough shape. It has veneer damage on all the sides, and I think I will just end up replacing all the veneer. At least on two of the sides. I guess this one's not too bad, it's just really scuffed out in the corner. Well, then again, I guess if I'm going to replace the veneer on two of the sides, I might as well do all three so they match. Somebody did a horrible repair job here where they just shot a lot of glue into there and just kind of stuck this down, but you can see there's a huge gap in there. They didn't even bother to really push it down. This might be some kind of expanding foam adhesive. Anyways, I'll just be ripping all that off. Otherwise though, it's in really good condition. I think a little polishing on this plastic with Novus number 2 and it'll look great. I've got all the knobs. I've taken them off in preparation to pull the chassis out, which I have not done yet. I got the original metal back, which is quite nice. In fact, there's somebody selling one of these on eBay right now with a buy it now of I think 40 bucks. More amazingly is somebody sold one of these just last night. I think for 500 and change, like 525, somewhere around there, which is an incredible amount of money for these. They're popular, but they're not especially rare or anything. No, it was in really good condition, although I think it might have been missing the back, so I would expect that buyer to buy the one back that's for sale. I looked through my rider's service manuals and found it in volume number 4. There it is. And there was also a portable version, had a carry handle on the side and I think a leatherette finish on it. There's tube complement. It's a series strung transformerless set. So you see a lot of 12 and 25 volt tubes. That was so if you add up all these tube filaments, you can basically get 2 strings that go right on the AC line. So 2 sections of these are series strung to add up to about 117 volts. And unlike the Motorola sets, they didn't need to use a ballast in here, so there's a couple more tubes or so than the Motorola sets. So it's closer to the 117 or so. I was a little surprised when I saw the schematic for this, in that there's only one rectifier in it. So here comes in the AC line, and here's the 2 strings of tube filaments. And they also rectify that to power the set. But in every set I've seen, every set that I've worked on that had this kind of arrangement, they used a voltage doubler with 2 selenium rectifiers. This is just a half-wave rectifier on the AC line, so it has like 120 volts, 130 volts or so to power the set. Whereas normally you'd have more like 200 or more. So it's curious that they were able to make this work. Pretty simple schematic compared to other TVs. Let's see, I think it only has 3 stages of IF. 2, 3. And then it's got video detector, AGC, 12AU7 for first video amp and sync separator, then a 25L6 for the final video amp, and they pick off the sound there, so it's got inter-carrier sound, which generally works better than the split carrier sound. And a 6S8 for the ratio detector for the FM sound, and then a 25L6 for the audio output. And then things get kind of weird down here because of the electrostatic deflection stuff. Here we have a phase detector for the horizontal, and phase inverter and DC amp, and a horizontal oscillator with 12SN7, and 25L6 for the horizontal output, which drives this transformer, and then it's coupled through a couple high voltage capacitors to the picture tube. And down here we have a vertical oscillator, 12SN7, with a 6SL7 vertical amp. And again, driving a couple high voltage capacitors and going to the picture tube. And then for the high voltage, they have a standalone RF high voltage oscillator. So it's like a little, sort of like a flyback. Basically, a few turns on the primary, driven by the 25L6, a little tickler coil to provide feedback, and then a whole mess of turns on the output. And then it goes to a 1B3 high voltage rectifier. Probably runs at around 6,000 volts. It's typical for these electrostatic sets. Alright, so I've already pulled out my Sencor CR70 because I want to test the picture tube. I've had a real string of luck with these. I've yet to find a 7JP4 that was completely dead. All of the ones on all my sets produce a watchable picture. So keep my fingers crossed that that holds true. I've already hooked it up to all the pins here, so let's give this a try. It's completely covered in a shield, so I can't see the filament glow. I'll just trust the meter indication here. So let's see, HK shorts. That's good. Well, I think my string of good luck just ended. I've got a G1 short, so the grid is shorted probably to the cathode or maybe the filament. So what that probably means, yeah, I have no grid. So when I rotate this knob, then the meter should move. So that means that there's no modulation. So if you tried to watch this in a set, you'd probably just have just like an all white or all black picture. It can't be modulated by the video signal. Crap. I'll check emissions anyways. Well, that's curious. The cutoff does affect emissions here. I bet it's shorted to the cathode. So when I'm rotating this, it's not just changing the grid, it's actually changing the cathode as well. Hey, it's got good emissions at any rate. Now, this device can fix shorts. I've done it once or twice on other picture tubes, and successfully. It's not something I like doing though, because there's always a chance you can ruin the tube. But as it is, probably not going to work anyways. There's two ways you can modulate a tube. You can either modulate the cathode or modulate the grid. So let's see which they do. So second video amp, which goes over here and over here and over here to pin 3, which is the grid. So yeah, I'm gonna have to fix that short. Alright, it's been a while since I did this. I don't remember how. Blah, blah, blah. HK shorts test indicates bad. These can't be removed. Well, I'm glad I don't have that. G1 shorts. It indicates bad. Perform the remove G1 shorts function. Repeat the G1 shorts test. Oh, I see. It's actually right there on the knob. Remove G1 short. Look through here. They must have more detailed instructions on them. Yeah, here we go. Select remove G1 short function. Set individual drawing, switch to blah blah blah. Blah blah blah. Alright, so I need to put it onto remove G1 short and then push the big red button. Repeat up to 3 times if necessary. Oh, here goes nothing. I gotta trust that did something, since I can't observe the tube. Hey, how about that? Got on the first try. Awesome. Shorts. Shorts. And cool. Now when I rotate this knob, I get the needle move. So you're supposed to put it inside the black box, which is in normal operating conditions. And I'll check the emissions again. Very, very good. Boy, the last 3 of these I've picked up have all had awesome emissions. And finally do a life test, which is rock solid. Now, the only way to really, really test one of these is to actually put it in a functioning set. But it's certainly very, very encouraging. So I'll double check this. I'm tapping the tube a little bit. Sometimes when you get a short and you fix it, there might be still some debris in there that might short out again. But well, this looks to be rock solid. Alright. So, that's good. Now, for the fun part, I'm going to pull this chassis out. I imagine there are a few screws underneath holding it in. I removed the 4 bolts holding the chassis in, and it slid out fairly easily. Kind of nasty inside the cabinet, though. Must have been in a damp environment for quite some time. There's some kind of mold or fungus inside. It's like a white powder. I'll have to neutralize that. There's separation too, but it's on the inside. I can just glue this back down. I imagine there's some kind of product you can apply to the wood that will kill that stuff off and stabilize the wood. And it has caused the chassis to rust a bit, but not too bad. Mainly bad up here, which is the worst part of the cabinet too, that front corner up there. So, imagine most water got in there. And I am missing the cover on the high voltage box. I guess it would be too hard to fabricate something like that though. Just take a piece of aluminum and cut a few notches and bend over the corners, drill a few holes, and piece of cake. Alright, so here we go. All the tubes are here. A number of them are the Emersons too. Emerson. So. Oh, not too bad, at least from the top side. I think there's only one well, no, there's 2. Okay, 2 electrolytic cans in this set. One there, so there's picture tube, partial shield around the neck. And there's that high voltage coil I was talking about. Just like the one in the Helicrafters I restored a couple years ago. Let's see what's underneath. I'm almost afraid to look at this point though, because it was so damp in this set. Not too horrible. Cobwebs. Nothing appears to be live in this set anymore. No live spiders around. So there's the one big selenium rectifier. This transformer looks a little nasty. I hope that's still good. A few of these caps are pretty fried, it looks like. So these are the high voltage caps. So you guys here are probably the vertical, which uses 0.005, and these 2 are probably the horizontal, which is 0.001. Both rated at 6,000, or all 4 rather, rated at 6,000 volts. That's why they use plastic shafts on these adjustment potentiometers here, so you don't get shocked, because there's high voltage running all in this area here. Got some nice bumblebee caps. Yeah, it doesn't look too bad. Just a bunch of caps to replace. Here's a closer look at the tuner, which is kind of on its own little separate sub-chassis here. It has a 6AG5 RF amp and then a 6J6 dual triode for the oscillator and mixer. Oh, there's the speaker. Looks to be in good condition, no tears or anything. Picture tubes needs a little bit of cleaning. That high voltage attracts really fine dust particles that work their way into the set and stick to the glass. Little Windex will take care of that. So, all in all, not too bad. I'll run over to Home Improvement Center maybe tomorrow and see what kind of products they have to treat the wood. Unfortunately, the label will probably get ruined in the process. Unless maybe I can get it off. Seems like most of the glue has come loose, but not all of it. We'll see. Well, I've got this out. I'll see about removing this plastic and then I'll try polishing it up. I did a little reading online about how to deal with white moldy wood, and although there are commercial products available, I went with the homebrew solution, which was to wipe it down with some soapy water. Actually, I used Pine Sol, and then use some diluted bleach, which should kill the mold. And I've got it out here in the back porch drying in the sun, and I think that'll work out all right. I discovered that not only was some of that veneer glued back down, but actually the cabinet had been, at least on this side. So you can see there's glue oozing out here and there. The really shitty thing is that they did not do a very good job when they joined it back together. There should be a nice tight joint here, and it's not. So I may try to break this cabinet back apart and then glue it back up together better. See more glue oozing out there. Again though, I suspect this isn't even glue. I think this is some kind of expanding foam adhesive, which actually probably forced the wood to spread apart as it was setting up. The question is, how tightly bonded is this? You know, can I break it back apart without damaging it? So if I try to get a screwdriver or chisel in here, I can try to bust it back apart. Once it dries out sufficiently, I'm also going to go over it with this stuff. I've been using this in my Greenow 1191, and I really like it. It's a liquid epoxy, and you brush this onto wood and it soaks into it and hardens, and I really like the way it works. It really seals and strengthens the wood, so not only should that prevent any mold from coming back, but it will also help to stabilize this plywood, which is separating in spots and a little bit weakened. I was kind of able to salvage the tube chart from inside the cabinet. I guess I could try scanning this and printing on a new copy. I don't want to put this back in that cabinet, it's got more of that white mold crap on it. While I'm waiting for the cabinet to dry, I can do a little cleaning on this. The knobs are a bit grungy, so I'm going to put them into some diluted 409 multi-purpose cleaner. After an hour or two, all that crud should start lifting off. And I'll just do a little bit of brushing with an old toothbrush to get the residue off. This dirty pitcher tube I can deal with some glass cleaner. Spraying it on the rag first. I don't want to get it on the all over the chassis. It's got enough rust on it as it is. Oh yeah, that's better. looks to be in good shape. Sometimes I find little air bubbles inside the glass on these or other flaws in the glass. This looks to be in really good shape. Oh, for a second there I thought this might have some kind of aquadag coating on it. That's an outer black conductive coating you often find in picture tubes, but no, this is just dirt. Alright, so I'll keep working at that for a while. And then that leaves the front faceplate. For that, I'm going to use some Novus number 2. All this printing and gold and such is actually applied from the back. The front is just clear so I can be fairly aggressive with it without damaging the paint. The logo is a separate piece. I think it's cast painted metal. And it's fed through the back and bent over. I guess I will very carefully try to pry those pins up so I can get the logo off and then clean around it. The metal used for the logo is quite pliable. I think it might be brass, so I got it out without too much trouble. I'll then clean this off with a little bit of Windex, and now I'm going to try using the Novus number 2. Squirted some onto a rag, and now I'll apply it, circular motion. You never want to let this dry out while you're rubbing. If you need to, squirt on more, because the idea is you want to keep rubbing this around while it's wet, and then you let it dry to a haze, and then you buff it out like car wax. That's better. Not perfect, but a lot better than it was. I also went over the chassis a bit with some damp rags and cleaned off the tubes in the chassis. It's looking a little more respectable now. About 2/3 of the tubes appear to be the original Emerson branded tubes, and I found one 25L6 rather that's gone to air, meaning it's lost its vacuum and the getter is turned all white, so that tube's definitely bad. After wiping down the inside of the cabinet with the diluted bleach and letting it dry, I applied that liquid wood hardener, and now I've got myself a nice sealed, hard, clean wood surface all around inside. So it worked out really well. I'm going to reassemble the set now. Let's take one look at it all cleaned up and put back together. Here it is all back together. Obviously the cabinet still looks miserable, but the front looks pretty sharp, I think. Certainly good enough to put out on display with my other sets. So for now, I'm going to toss it on the to-do pile and get back to my other projects. Hope you enjoyed this video.